Hello everyone, this is Kyle from Teacher's Teacher, and in this video we're looking at some of the advanced uses of Google Docs. So the first thing I want to show you is just some quick information about the page setup. So if you go to File and scroll towards the bottom, you will see this option called Page Setup. Go ahead and click on that, and this new window will open up and it'll give you a lot of different options to help you customize your page. Now the first option we have here is the portrait versus the landscape mode, and if you click landscape and then you hit OK, it'll just shift the orientation of your paper. Now I actually do not want to keep that in landscape mode, so I'm going to go to page setup again. I'm going to switch it back to portrait, and I'm just going to go ahead and make sure that that works. Now if we continue looking at page setup, we can edit the margins to make the text in the paper appear how we want it. So right now we have 1-inch margins on all sides of the paper, but I actually want to change this because I want to put more text or more words on each page. I want more words to be able to fit. So I'm actually going to change the margins to 0.2 inches all around. And then when I hit OK, you'll notice that now my text is actually very close. It's 0.2 inches away from the sides, 0.2 inches away from the top, so I can just fit more text on the page. So that's pretty helpful if you have some long documents and you just want to take up more of the page. Now we can also edit the page size, so we have the 8.5 by 11, which is the normal size of the paper. But if you're printing it in any different type of format, you can have the option to change that as well. And if we really want to, we can also change the background, the page color. I only do this for a couple things because I think it gets a little crazy, but you know, we do have that option. I'm going to change this back and then we're going to move on. So I copied and pasted a lot of text into this, and this is my document that I was using before with Socrates, but I got a lot of information from Wikipedia. Not necessarily a source that I recommend, but I just needed a whole lot of text and it was the easiest place for me to get that. So the next thing I wanted to talk about was the outline feature that is actually a newer feature within Google Docs that I find extremely helpful. So you'll notice all the text that I have right now is all the same size, and there's this button over here on the left hand side. This is called your document outline. So if you click that, and this might be open if you create a new Word document, it might be open and look like this already, but right now I don't have any type of heading. Now all I need to do to begin to organize and outline my document is I really just need to change the size of the text. So I can highlight a title that I have, and I can go to my font size, and I can change it to maybe 14. And as I do that, you'll see that in my outline, that specific text that I just made larger is now part of my outline. Now I can go down and I can see, okay, well, this is going to be another title here, so I can change it. And I actually use like the command keys to change this. So if you hit Control-Shift, period, which is also the right-facing arrow, and you can just click that. So I'm going to make this 14. You can actually click the arrows right and left to increase or decrease the size of the text. So now you'll see that, again, this new, different, larger text popped up in my outline. So I'm going to go and just do a couple more sources. I'm just going to make these 14. Now what this allows me to do, if I have a really long document, and this one is kind of getting into a couple pages, so I want to make sure that I have just an easy way to access all this information if I'm going through and editing, you know, anything within my document. So if I start at the top here, now let's say that I open up this document and okay, you know, I want to navigate to this military service section. All I need to do is open up my outline, click this, and then it just automatically navigates me to that page instead of me scrolling through this page. Now I actually use this for this class. I have one document that's 26 pages long for me to format this entire class, and you can see that my outline right here, I can just go ahead and click and it'll take me to all of this text that I created. So it's very easy for me to navigate, and I think it's extremely helpful if you are working with any type of pretty large document. Now another way to do that, if you don't want to actually just change the text yourself, is if you click, or if you highlight a certain text, then you go up here to the styles. Now if you make something a title, for example, now it actually created a title, and then embedded in this title are all of these other subsections of our outline. So you can actually begin to, you know, organize your outline and kind of format and sort everything together, which can be extremely helpful, and you can do that with the styles up here. Now the next thing I want to show you is a pretty cool feature, and it's the drawing feature, and you can use this to add really any type of text, a text box, or an image, or something that you can actually draw with your cursor, anything like that. So if I put my cursor on a certain spot that I want to add this drawing into, I hit insert, and I go to drawing, and then I click new. So this new box is going to pop up, and then I have some options here at the top, and some actions that I can take to create something that I want to input into my document, technically as an image. So let's say I want to add a text box, and then I want to add a question for this reading, and I say question number 1, blah, blah, blah. So students can answer this. And then I want to make this text box actually seen, so I want to make the weight of the lines so you can actually see them, and maybe I want to change the color so it's red. So when I print this out, students can answer this in the document. All I need to do is hit save and close, and you'll see that now this is kind of treated like a picture within the document itself, but I can always hit this edit button and go back and edit this at any point in time. Maybe I want to, draw something in here that can be helpful. I can save it, and now, all of that is kind of clumped up into one image. So now I have some options here, and if you hit text wrap, what will happen is all the text will wrap around the image itself, so you can kind of embed anything in the document around the text. And I think it just looks a little bit neater, and that's helpful for a bunch of different things that you're trying to do. Now the next thing I want to talk about, which is a really, really awesome feature, is the translation in the language feature within Google Docs. Now, Google is really good at translating languages. They do it with a whole bunch of their other software and other hardware that they have, like the Google Home and things like that. So they have really, really good software that allows us to translate text. But before we actually translate this text, let's say you're somebody who is maybe a Spanish teacher and you want to actually write and type this document out in Spanish. Now, if you're typing in another language, all you need to do is go to File, go down to Language, and then actually choose the language that you want to change this document to. That will allow you to type within the context of that language, and any of the spell check features will then also be in that language. But I don't want to type in another language. I actually have a student who speaks Spanish in my class, and I want to translate this document into Spanish for that student. So what I can do in that situation is I can go up to Tools, and then I can scroll down to this where it says Translate Document. So if I click on that, it's going to save a copy of this document. It says translated copy of the Socrates reading and questions, and then I can choose my language. Now I have a Spanish speaking student, so I'm going to go down to where it says Spanish, and then I'm going to hit translate. Now you'll see that a completely new document will open up. And then now this entire document, which is a completely new translated copy of my document, is saved for me in my Google Drive, and it is completely translated into Spanish. Now, I've talked to other teachers at my school who are Spanish speakers, and they say that this translation, it does a really good job, but it isn't 100% perfect. So if you have somebody, or if you are able to proofread this, I highly recommend that you proofread that. So you'll see that I have 2 copies of this document, one in English and one in Spanish. And if I go over to my drive and I go back to the beginning of my drive, you will find that this translated copy is right here for me, of a completely separate copy of that document. Now I want to put it in the same folder, so I can highlight it. I can just click and drag it into this new folder. So now I have my Socrates reading and questions, and then I also have my translated copy of the Socrates reading and questions that I can use. Another really important feature, and this is very, very important if you are sharing documents with other people and giving them access to edit information and to edit the document. Let's say that somebody accidentally hits Control A and then delete, and they completely wipe the whole document that you guys have been working on for 2 weeks. You're trying to figure all this out, and they completely delete everything. So don't fear. All you need to do is go over to File, and then go to Version History, and then you can see the version history. So anytime anybody makes an edit, Google will save that information, and they will put it into different versions of the document that they actually save within the history. So you can see that I was making some edits of all these things that I deleted from my last video before I started this one, and all of this is there. Now all I need to do if I want to restore the version, so I can click on any version that I want, and then I hit restore this version. So I click, I hit restore, and then now everything that I just had was completely gone, and this was a version that I had yesterday at 10:50 a.m. So if anybody makes, some really big mistake, a large error, deletes everything or something like that, you always have the ability to go into the version history and check. And now that is with teachers that it tracks everything, and it also tracks everything with students. So if you have students using the same document, and one student also made a mistake, deleted something from another student, you can just go back, check the version history, restore it to a previous version, and then you should be good to go. Now the last thing I want to show you is a pretty cool feature, and there's a little explore button down here at the bottom. So if you have students working on a document and you want them to look up some information, you want to have them explore the web within the document itself, you can click on this button, and then this side panel will open up. Now what you can do here is you can search, kind of just with a Google search. Now you can have some web options open up, images, and you can also search in your drive if you want to, but I'm just looking at and searching information on the web, and maybe I want them to add in some Socrates quotes. So I can search that. Now I can find a website, that can work for me. So maybe this website right here, 60 Socrates quotes on life. I click that, it opens up in a new window, and maybe I just want to copy and paste one of the quotes here. So I'm going to grab this one. Oops. Copy it, bring it over, Control V to paste. Actually, I'm going to do paste without formatting. Now, if you want them to cite something, there's actually a really cool feature within this Explore where if I pulled something from this specific website, there's a little feature right here to cite this and add it as a footnote. So wherever my cursor is, so I just pulled this quote, and I'm going to have my cursor right at the end. I'm going to click this button, and then you'll see that it adds a little number 1 as a superscript at the top, and then at the top of the word where the cursor was, and at the bottom of the page, it actually cites this for me in the footer. So that's a really cool and easy way if you want to have students citing their information and showing you what websites that they're getting it from. So thanks so much for tuning into this video for some advanced uses of Google Docs. I recommend though, because there are so many more things to Google Docs, that you spend some time playing around with some other tools. I think the voice typing tool is really awesome. And there's just a lot of other different things as far as inserting in format that you can do to kind of help you out. So thanks again, and I'll see you for the next video.